Good morning, people. Um, my name is Edward King. For those of you who are not familiar with my videos, this is a non-video audio recording, and I'm running some programs in the background which might account for the inability for the camera to see what's going on right now. I don't know if I can fix that or if I'm even being recorded right now, but it says I'm being recorded. I did test, I did have an image before, but the image has disappeared. Anyway, it doesn't matter because actually, well, it's about 5:30 a.m. my time, and this is just a quiet time where I can actually make these recordings without interruption. So I generally make them early in the morning when I make them from my computer, my PC, whatever. Oh my goodness, pardon me, pardon my yawn. Um, I had an interesting thread here on Facebook, uh, which I thought, it was very brave of this lady to step forth and actually address my thread, because most didn't, and most wouldn't, and most haven't. But this lady did. She actually addressed my post, and we had a really good conversation. And I won't say her name because that would not be ethical, I think. But I'd like to share some of what she shared with me on that thread. But I'll have to bring that up. Let's see if I can do that here, because I'm running some applications in the background. They're checking for excessive system clutter. Um, I like using System Mechanic. Um, I think the boys at Iolo do a terrific job. And if there's any of these computer maintenance programs that are worth someone's time, I would say that System Mechanic definitely is. It fits the bill, and I've used them for almost a decade now, I think, and so I think I know from whence I speak. Okay, all right. Here's the thread. I just found it. Um, Basically, the thread begins with a picture of me, looking like my normal self, nothing fancy. I actually captioned it to read, "Wanted a natural me shot without the frills." And yeah, it's me, all natural and not, looking like I'm trying to impress anybody. And underneath that, I have a little video that I had made that I put it up 3 times, and it was ignored completely. Like nobody addressed it or anything. And you got to understand. I mean, I have lots of quote unquote friends, on Facebook, and nobody answered it. Now, there's a reason why. I mean, I understand there's a reason why. I mean, other people responded to many of my videos, but not this one. And this video was also presented on YouTube, and as far as I understand, nobody on YouTube has dared answer it. And you got to be pretty gutsy to answer this video, okay? In this video, I basically ask, it's a picture of me, a headshot of me, and I ask, would you marry someone who looked like me? I'm asking this question to the ladies. I'm not presenting this question to neo-feminist misandrists. I'm actually presenting this question to ladies. And this is the third time I've put this video up, and finally somebody answered it. And I was really surprised that a lady actually stepped forth and answered my video. I'll pause here. How to approach this, because it's very sensitive, and I don't want to offend anybody, but at the same time I want to be forthright. I don't, and I don't want to misinform anyone. I just the reason I put this video is sort of an experiment in psychology, and my hypothesis was coming true. My hypothesis was this: that women are more concerned about physical appearances than men are. Women are more concerned about the physical appearance of their spouse than men are. Okay, like, I'm not talking about the exception, all right? I always get this, well, not all men are like that, not all women. I understand that. That goes without saying. I understand that, there are always going to be exceptions, but I'm not talking about the exception. I'm talking about the rule. And as one good friend had pointed out some time ago, the exception proves the rule. So, making exception for the exception only proves the rule. It's an exception to what? To the rule. To the rule. And the rule is what? Well, I'm still I think this lady that stepped forth, I think she was exceptional. I think she was exceptional. And I commend her for stepping forth, because she's the only one who did. And she gave me her views. And in this video, I mentioned that I am married. And I just wanted to know, if, what woman would marry a man who looked like me. I didn't want to know if anyone would marry me. I know already that there are, thousands of women out there who would marry me. Now stop right there. Unless you've seen my other video presentations, you won't even know what I mean by that. It sounds very arrogant, but when I explain what marriage is, then perhaps you might not take me for being so arrogant, because a lot of people don't know what marriage is. I do not mean signing a contract, okay? If signing a piece of paper was marriage, then nobody in the United States of America, anyway, before 1929 or 1923 ever got married, because there was no government writ of contract to sign. Okay, churches issued certificates, but they all had their own, depending on the denomination, their own, church issued certificate of marriage. But that's not the same thing as a license to marry, and that's not a government certificate. And of course, all the denominations were not in agreement with one another about what it should be or whatever. But because they all had their own doctrinal approach to marriage. But seriously, I'm going to say something that I have said so many times, and I'm going to say it again because I need to clarify this. Rings and vows and paper writ do not a marriage make. Again, I'll say it. Rings and vows and paper writ do not a marriage make. People can act like that. They can pretend. They can feign marriage all they want if they wish, but that does not constitute marriage. Now, if people want to use a piece of paper to regulate marriage, I mean, I understand paper is important. We've got paper regulating all sorts of things, and Like they say, the job isn't finished till the paperwork is done, but it can be a pretty messy business, and you still have to wash your hands afterward. This does not constitute marriage. All right, if you are a Bible believer, know this, that signing a piece of paper does not constitute marriage in the sight of God. In the Bible, Jesus made it very clear as to what marriage was to the Pharisees that wanted to rip apart marriage, and he spoke about marriage indirectly when they approached him on the issue of divorcement. And he explained to them what marriage was, and that whatsoever God had put together, let not man put asunder. All right, now that's marriage. All right, what God has put together, let not man put asunder. But this was decreed by God back in Genesis, if you follow the biblical account. And Christ reminded the Pharisees that it's for this very reason that a man leaves his father and mother and cleaves unto his wife, and they twain become one flesh. One flesh. And that's marriage, friends. That is marriage. And so now, becoming one flesh with someone isn't really a hard thing to do. The act of marriage is the act of conjugation, copulation, consummation, and procreation. It is the joining of a man and a woman through the act of sexual intercourse, okay, to become one flesh. And there's no easy way to put this, but we all know what it is, and we really should not be ashamed of this biological process. It's the reason why there's people on the earth. The act of marriage must occur before the earth can be repopulated. One flesh has to be produced to populate the planet. All right? I hope you're following this so far. And so, a lot of people just don't get it. It's like it's too simple to actually grasp. Because, just signing a piece of paper or just declaring something, even out of your mouth, I can declare all I want out of my mouth, but if it's not the case, then it's not the case. Just my saying it does not necessarily make it so. I can say elephants fly at 12 o'clock noon every Sunday and turn purple and blue, but that does not necessarily make it so. Two people can look each other in the eyes and lie all the way through a ceremony. That doesn't make it truth. Doesn't make it so. No, what Jesus called marriage is when a man and a woman join to become one flesh. That's what Jesus called marriage. That's how he referred to marriage. And that's how he referred to it to the Pharisees. And so now maybe it might be clearer now why I say there are thousands of the women in the world who would marry me. I don't know how many would marry me honorably. So in my video, I'm not asking if anybody will marry me. I'm asking, are there any women out there who would marry a man who looks like me? Now, this is going back to my hypothesis. My hypothesis is this. Women are more concerned about physical appearances than men are. A man, as long as she is, taking fairly good care of herself, she's not a fat slob or an anorexic, but as long as she's taking fairly good care of herself, and she's loyal, and she's sweet, and she's kind and submissive, all right, and she bears all those qualities that a good wife has. I mean, he is not going to, kick her out of his bed for eating crackers. At least not a gentleman. Gentlemen would say, honey, please stop eating crackers in bed. That's what we'd probably say. But do you see what I'm trying to get at? Men, I know, because I talk to men. I talk to men every day. And I wasn't born yesterday. I've talked to a lot of men throughout the decades. And really, seriously, men are not as hung up over looks, I believe, as women are. Because no one responded to this video until now. No lady stepped forth and said, "Oh, you look okay," or "I'm not concerned about looks," or anything like that. Okay, but this is the thing. This is what I'm getting at. This is my point. I really believe women are more hung up over physical appearance of their spouse than men are. Anyway, she actually makes some statement here. She goes. But she told me that is not a good idea at all. There is nothing wrong with the way you look. Now, I wasn't too sure what she meant by that is not a good idea at all, but eventually she does go into it. And I answer to her, I say, it was part of an experiment in psychology. I think I have a fairly good understanding of human behavior, but one never knows until one puts it to the test. Now, that's true. I put it to the test. I wanted to see if any ladies would step forth, and I believe that this lady who spoke about this, I hope I didn't blur her name. Maybe I did. I hope not. But this lady said that because it doesn't matter who, but she actually did answer my video, and I feel like I should give it a proper video response because, wow, after putting this up 3 times, finally someone steps forth and actually approaches it. Now she says in her next reply, she says, well, whatever it is, in my opinion, it's a bad idea to have 2 wives. Now I pointed that out because I wanted them to understand I'm a married man. I'm a married man. But a guy who looks like me was what the question was all about. And she said, oh, and about your teeth missing, it happens to a lot of us who drink water that is saturated with fluoride and other chemicals. And that's true. I did come from that age. And so she goes, wait, I didn't mean to get all tech. LOL. I've been doing a lot of reading lately on chemicals in our food and drinks. And she actually apologizes. She says, sorry. So she's, maybe a little bit nervous about stepping forth, but that's not the point. The point is that she actually did step forth, and I commend her for it. And so I assure her, I write, no, that's okay. I'm from that generation when fluorine and chlorine in the water were considered good things, and Tang was the #1 breakfast drink. I don't even know if they make Tang anymore. Tang was just basically a package full of crystals. It was corrosive. It had dye and all kinds of stuff in it, chemicals that really not good for you. But it became the #1 breakfast drink for North America for the longest time. Everybody was buying Tang because it was cheap, and hey, it was the stuff that the astronauts drank. And anyway, I write the age of synthetic nutrition. I said we've come a long way since then. I add further, I go on to say, I respect your opinion and honestly agree that in most cases polygamy is a bad choice in today's messed up society. Unless one seriously has a dedicated view and an honest heart about the whole thing, it is doomed to fail. Now, yeah, it's true. That said, I also see how in today's day and age, for the mature person, polygamy is probably their best option with respect to meaningful marriage and family economics. I've given this much thought, and I concede it is not always such a bad idea. And I really do believe that. I don't believe it's always a bad idea for a man to have more than 1 wife. And those of you who know me know that's my position. And some of you have witnessed some of the debates that have taken place over this, and how basically I just slice and dice everything to bits. anyone who approaches me with opposition concerning this, because there really is no argument, no sound argument against biblical polygamy. And as times get tougher, ladies, it might be something that you would want to consider. Men, why watch a woman go down the drain just because you're so proud and you want to look so good in the public eye? Because that's what I did. And, I regret it now. I'm sorry. I should have taken at least 4 good women and under my wing, and I should have provided a home and a sanctuary for them, and we should have all worked together as a team. I should have at least done that, because it's a shame. It's a shame when a woman hits the skids. It's a shame when a woman has to lean on prostitution and all sorts of illicit activities just to stay alive. There's no excuse for it. I understand that. But, people fall through the cracks and there's nobody there to catch them. And it's sad. It's really sad, Anyway, I'm going to take a slurp of coffee now. I am an advocate of biblical polygamy. That is true. I am an advocate of biblical polygamy. But I just wanted to know if there were any women out there that would actually marry a man who looked like me, because my wife really wants a co-wife in the family. And, I really feel like I'm letting her down, because I'm not actively looking for a co-wife. And, she entered this relationship with me believing that she would have a co-wife. And I did too. I entered this relationship believing that I would have a co-wife as well. And, we were deceived. Okay, I'm not going to name any names, but the other individual that I will not name evidently had a change of heart, and unfortunately bolted, and you couldn't really handle the idea after all. So, there we were, left holding the towel, and real good deal there. But I digress, and I'll have to save that for another time.